conversations and everything today. So that's the planned content. And in between all that, we'll take at least 2 breaks and a lunch break. So you've got 3 breaks coming your way. William, go ahead.
Okay, I have the screen here. Hold on, I'll put it in
Sorry,
here.
I have to do a setting. Hold on a second. Sorry, I have to update a
Okay.
setting on my part to let you share. It's all the new security settings with all participants. There we go. Now you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I go over here. Where are we here? Can you see? Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Now I do.
Okay.
So is this what you're talking about?
I'm trying to get over to, can you, oh, you can see this here?
Yeah.
And I hit create?
Yep.
And that's what comes up.
Okay, so what if you click create new campaign at the top? What does it do there?
Goes right here to objective with nothing
Yep.
about. Okay,
Also,
that's fine. That's fine. You just hit video views, right?
Yep. Now
And then
scroll
you
down. No, hold on. Scroll down.
Okay.
That's where
here
you
we are.
name your. Okay, you can't rush through this because this is what people do. They rush through it. They miss buttons, and
Right.
and
You
it gets
scroll down
cumbersome.
here.
So there it
Now you
says
click on
name.
this.
Yep.
So name the campaign
So
will be.
Yeah, so it's just giving you a slightly different interface for whatever reason it's doing that. But it's giving you all the functionality. You're just going to have to kind of
That's what I thought.
look at it and be like, okay, so this is what my version of his version looks like.
Yep, that's what I thought too. And I won't bore you now with all the details, but I went on with this to create the ad and continue. I'm not putting in any data right now, but just to give you an overview of the formats, it really takes off differently here.
Yeah, it
From
does.
And this is why I said, wait a minute. And then if I go on to next, it goes even further out on the ad set names, the budget. Everything is entirely different than what you had on your screen. And I looked at this and I said, I better get hold of Scott and make sure I'm not missing something.
I wish that I had a way to toggle between all the versions of Ads Manager then, so that then I could do a walkthrough video that, looks like yours. From what I'm seeing, all the features are the same. It's the layout and the interface that's different, but the actual options are all the same. They just put them in different places.
They
so
did.
What I would advise is looking at like this part right here, like where you're looking at all that, like it just looks different, but the words are the same in many instances. And what you have to do is just look at my walkthrough. What I would recommend you do is look at my walkthrough tutorials.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and then just pause and try to find where that name of that option is on your version.
That's exactly what I was trying to do.
Okay.
And it didn't match up, but I won't get into it all now. But that's why I wanted to talk to Scott and just maybe have him walk through it with me, because I felt like I was overlooking some, not even overlooking, but misunderstanding.
Got it.
I got everything you said, but I just couldn't match it up to this.
Got it.
So anyway, that's where I'm at, and that's why I was asking about the version, because this is really this is really different.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they've changed around the interface somewhat for you.
I don't know why. I know I've got so lucky here.
Yeah, they just do this as test. They just always looking to optimize, and the only way they can optimize is they give a percentage of users a different interface, and then they see what the results are.
Okay.
When did you reach out to Scott?
This morning.
Oh,
just a little while, a couple hours ago.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'll wait for his. But thank you for taking a look at this.
Yeah, not a problem. From what I see, it definitely is different. But the features all look like they're there. So that's the good news.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And Scott will be able to help you one-on-one. And that brings me to another point for those of you, for everybody here. Our support email address, if you don't remember what it is support, and I'm typing this into the chat box now for everybody. It is support@listingbully.com. Okay, support@listingbully.com. And that email, when you email that email address, it goes to Scott is the person who monitors that email inbox for us. And he's able to help you guys resolve any issues you have with Facebook. He knows Facebook as good as I do, if not better, from the technical perspective. And he can help you guys resolve all kinds of problems. He's been helping resolve all kinds of problems, and it's been very, very helpful. All right, so as promised, the first thing I'm going to do is go into like a visual high-level overview of social signaling so that we have a visual picture for a reference to reference to hang the framework on. And then after that, we'll start getting into the mechanics of it specifically. Again, the possibility of everything that we can cover today is social signaling 101 in its entirety. If the only thing that we end up getting through and covering today is how to do everything up through launching your icebreaker, then I'm happy with that. Because remember, in your Teachable membership area, there is an individual walkthrough tutorial video for every single step of this, okay? Every single step of social signaling 101 and 201 has an individual walkthrough tutorial video on how to do it, where it's step by step. So instead of having to sift through any 5-hour boot camp, you're able to go to the exact step that you need to pick up at. And then there's an individual walkthrough tutorial that picks up at that step, walks you through it button by button, step by step, through the end, through the completion of that distinct step. And then there's a video that's for the next step and the next step until you get all the way through 101 and 201. So that's the good news for you, okay? All right, social signaling. So the layout of 101 is such as this. What we do is we record a 2 to 5 minute, we record a 2 to 5 minute video that is focused on delivering value to prospects, right? Potential homeowners who are serious about selling. 2 to 5 minutes. We post it on Facebook, on our Facebook business page. Okay. And then we promote it on Facebook as a video view ad. Okay. We run it as a video view ad. And what we do is we tell Facebook to pixel anybody who watches 15 seconds or more. All right. So if somebody watches 15 seconds of the icebreaker, they get pixeled, meaning Facebook tags their Facebook account with an invisible digital pixel that then allows us to retarget them as a custom audience later. And in this case, they're an audience of people who are pixeled from our icebreaker, right? And so that first video right there, that's called your icebreaker. Okay? And that's kind of part one of social signaling. Now, part two is you record 3 more videos. These videos as well are 2 to 5 minutes long each, usually. Okay. So they're also 2 to 5 minutes long. And they focus on one topic and one call to action per video. Okay. And we run them as video view ads as well. All right. Now, these videos are called your warm conversation videos. All right. So warm convo. And these videos are only shown to people who are pixeled from your icebreaker. All right. So if somebody gets pixeled here off of your icebreaker, they're moved to your warm conversation bucket. And it's here that then they are exposed to your warm conversation videos or your retargeting videos. And hopefully you remember the coffee shop metaphor I gave you before behind why the first video is called the icebreaker and then the other 3 videos are called your warm conversation videos. Okay. Now remember also with the icebreaker, there is no button below it. The way you typically see on ads on Facebook. There's no button there on your icebreaker because the only thing that we care to accomplish with the icebreaker is the pixel, right? And that's invisible. And that's why one of the things that we refer to with social signaling is that it is an invisible funnel. People don't know that they're in a funnel when they watch your first video, but they are put in a funnel through the hidden pixel because of their behavior, meaning they actually took the time to watch 15 seconds or more of your video. Okay. Then next, the warm conversation videos all do have a button, right? They all do have a button. And the reason why they have a button is because now that we have them pixeled, it's okay if they leave the video and don't watch a tremendous amount of it, because they're still going to be on the pixel for, if you remember, 90 days. And so because they're on this pixel for 90 days, right? Because they're on this pixel for 90 days, what we're trying to do with the icebreaker is get them on a pixel. But with the warm conversation videos, now it's all about retargeting them over and over and over again with valuable content in the form of videos, and then getting them to take action on our call to action to take the next step with us, right? And right now for 101, the next step, the call to action the primary one that we're using is the Calendly call to action, where we invite people to go and book themselves into our calendar for a free homeowner consultation. All right. And so that idea there is that we give people value in the video, or in our warm conversation videos on Facebook, run them as video view ads, retargeting the people who got pixeled. And then at the end of those videos, at the end of each one of the warm conversation videos, we give them an opportunity to book themselves into our calendar for a phone call or a video phone call, and so that we can give them more value, right? And give them more help. And what I recommend you use for this is Calendly, because the basic account is free and the basic account is adequate for what we're doing with social signaling. And then the final step of this is then facilitating on whatever the call to action is. In this case, because we're offering a virtual video consultation meeting, then what I recommend you do is you set up a Zoom account. And a Zoom account, a basic Zoom account, is free. And a basic Zoom account is all you need to facilitate that. Okay? And so that's Zoom. So this right here, what we're looking at right there, is the core social signaling 101 framework. Okay? This is social signaling 101. And so this right here is social signaling 101. Within social signaling 101, there is an additional layer of dissection or distinction that I would bring to your attention to help you understand some things. What you want to do when you're thinking about this visually or looking at this is you want to draw a line right here, okay? A line of distinction, a line of separation. You draw it right here. And the reason why we do that is because everything in the icebreaker stage, so everything in here, is standalone, and you do not need to have anything in this part right here completed in order to do this. So what I mean by that is you can go out, if you don't have an icebreaker recorded or launched yet, you can go out immediately after this boot camp, set up your business page, record your icebreaker, load it up onto your business page, and launch a video view ad campaign inside Facebook using Ads Manager. And you don't need to have Calendly set up or Zoom set up or your warm conversation videos recorded and published in order to do that. Okay? That's what I mean when I say the icebreaker stage is standalone. Because we don't need steps in a funnel where people are going to click on something, go do something, and then there's going to be something else. We don't need that set up, because with the icebreaker, the only thing that we're trying to do, remember, is get the pixel of an interested audience, get a pixeled warm audience going. Okay? And because they're on the pixel for 90 days, if it takes you 1 or 2 or even 2 weeks to get your warm conversation videos recorded and uploaded to retarget these people, that's okay. They're on there for 90 days. So you can get the icebreakers launched immediately, have it gain momentum, have it start going and finding a pixeled audience, a warm audience for you that it pixels and gets ready for retargeting. And then as that is running, then you proceed to work on your warm conversation, Calendly, and Zoom stuff. Okay? So this is social signaling 101 in its entirety. And then again, imagine a line here between part 1 and part 2 of social signaling 101, if you will. Okay? And one of the reasons why this is designed this way is so that you don't have to go and set up all of this before you can start on any one step of actually launching it. Okay. There's really no delay to implementation. Get going on your icebreaker first, get that up and running. Then after that's actually launched and running and you're getting people on a pixel, then you go to part 2 of 101 where you set up your warm conversation, your first warm conversation video. People ask me often, Andre, do I need to have all 3 warm conversation videos recorded before I launch them? No, you do not. When you create your first one, you can launch it. Then go and create your second one, then create your third one. Now, some people record all 3 in the same day and then they just launch all 3. That's fine too. You can launch them all at the same time. My point is you don't have to have all 3 recorded before you can launch. Okay. Also, I'm going to teach social signaling in the linear format that I drew it out, meaning I'm teaching it left to right like this. So I'm going to cover icebreaker stuff, then warm convo, then the Calendly, and then Zoom. Okay. With that said, again, icebreaker is standalone. So you do all that first when you actually go implement. When we get to part 2 of 101, where it's warm conversation, Calendly, and Zoom, you actually, before you launch your warm conversation videos on Facebook, you actually have to have your Calendly page set up first. The reason being is that when you launch your warm conversation videos, remember, there's a button that goes with each one of those videos that people are going to click on. When people click on it, that has to take them somewhere effective. That's your Calendly page. So before you launch your even your first warm conversation video, you're going to have your Calendly page set up. So I'm going to teach it today, left to right, linearly. But after you're done with launching your icebreaker and you get to this stage here, warm convo, Calendly, and Zoom, you're actually going to have to go do Calendly first, then come back to launching your warm conversation videos to retarget the people on the pixel. Okay. So that is social signaling 101, high level overview, and that's what we're going to be spending our time on today. But before we continue, I do want to include a quick overview of 201 and 301 just for visual reference so that it helps. Okay, so you can kind of know where this is all going. And if you remember, you do not need to have 201 and 301 completely set up to have success. I do though strongly encourage you to get them all set up because it will simply amplify the opportunity for success. So 201, only after you are done implementing 101 do you move on to 201. In 201, what you will do is you would record a 10 to 15 minute, we typically shoot for 10 minutes, a 10 to 15 minute screen flow video, okay? 10 to 15 minutes, a screen flow video. I'm just going to say screen flow. So it's you recording some PowerPoint slides or Google slides on your screen, okay? And that web video there is called a mini webinar. This is a phrase coined by my colleague Joel Irway. And it's basically taking what you would think of traditionally as a long educational webinar, condensing it down into 10 to 15 minutes, and basically giving a prospect a power-packed short video presentation that should cover all the major bases of things that are important to them, and then give them an opportunity to take a next step with you. That should feel like a natural next step based upon what they've heard. Okay. And remember, you have the template from me for this and the script for doing it. Okay. Then what you're going to do is once this screen flow is recorded, you're going to load it up onto YouTube unlisted or Wistia or whatever video platform you're using. And then you're going to embed that video into a landing page. And you're going to have a proper landing page set up where that video is sitting there all the time. Then what you do in 201 is you record 3 more warm conversation videos. Okay, you record 3 more warm conversation videos. And these videos give, just like the first 3 warm convo videos, the second batch of warm conversation videos also are about 2 to 5 minutes long, focus on one topic, one call to action, have a call to action button. The difference between these videos and the ones in 101 is that the buttons, when you click on them for these 3 warm conversation videos, they take you to the landing page for the mini webinar. All right. And that's where they send the traffic. And so if you have 201 running and 101 running, then what that means is that you've got 3 videos. Let me get a different color here. You've got 3 videos working 24/7, 365 to send people to your calendar. Then you've got 3 videos working 24/7, 365 to send people to another video with even more value. That video ends with offering people an opportunity to go to your calendar to book a call with you. Okay. So regardless of which level we're looking at, the focus is to get people on the phone with you or to get people engaged with you in a conversation, because 75% of people list their home with the first agent they contact and actually connect with and talk to. So 3/4 of the pie, the lion's share, goes to the first agent that actually talks with the prospect in a meaningful, in-depth way. So the name of the game with listing game, the way to win the listing game, if you boiled it down to one core metric, is how many conversations are you having with new prospects? And the agent who has more first-time conversations with new prospects is by default going to have more business. And so everything that we're trying to do with social signaling is to get our content in front of people potentially interested, and then sift out the people who don't care and keep attracting the people who do care about what we have to say, and then trying to get those people to book themselves into our calendar or contact us for those critical first-time conversations. All right. And then the next stage is 301, if you decide to move along to this stage. And now 301, what we do in 301 is a little bit different. In 301, what you're going to do is you're going to launch what's called a Facebook lead ad. Okay. And the way you're going to launch it is it's going to be a static photo ad that offers people an opportunity to download a useful, handy tool from you. In our case right now, what we're providing you with and giving you to use is a call to action for a home seller checklist. Okay. And so then what people do is that they go and they opt in to download this home seller checklist. Okay. Let me see if I can draw a decent checklist. Hopefully that's good. So that's the checklist. As soon as somebody opts in for the checklist, their email address and their name is automatically added to your CRM. Okay. As soon as they opt in for that, their name is also added to your CRM. And then as soon as they're added to your CRM, they're put on an email drip, a 15 email sequence, which you guys get to have from me. And I'm just going to draw in 5 squares, but imagine there's 15 squares, okay? They get a 15 email sequence, and every single one of those emails pushes them to go watch the mini webinar, because that's your value bomb, right? Where you give a ton of value, 24/7 automated. And then that video ends with offering people an opportunity to go book themselves into your calendar. Again, driving people to the all critical phone conversation. So initially, most of your emails in your 15 email sequence are going to be driving people straight to the mini webinar. And then other emails will be asking questions where you're trying to get them to reply so that they engage. And then every email also includes your telephone number and reasons why they should reach out to you to connect with you. Okay. And then finally, if you decided to go all the way to 401, all right, 401 here. 401. This is what used to be 301. This is the live webinar part. Okay. So this is where you would then record 3 more warm conversation videos for which you would have scripts from me, etc. Okay. You would record those videos. And then what those videos will do is they will drive traffic to a landing page where people register for a live webinar with you. And then on the live webinar, what you do is you present about 30 to 40 minutes of content, walking people through some of the strategies and techniques that you might be okay, if you're using my template, which you are, you're going to walk them through common home seller mistakes, common mistakes that agents make, how to establish their home seller timeline. You give them a bunch of education on what they need to know that they don't know. And you just continue to build. What you're doing is you're building a bond with them. You're building trust, goodwill. And at the end, ideally what you've done is you've cemented yourself as the obvious go-to expert and authority and resource in real estate. And then at the end of that webinar, you give them a call to action and an offer to take a next step with you. During the peak or the worst of COVID-19, the idea is that you send people to your calendar to book themselves for a virtual meeting with you. Now that markets are coming out of the most strictest of things that were happening with social distancing and shelter in place, we can now have the option to go back to our original call to action webinars, which is something called the soft home inspection. And a soft home inspection is a listing appointment, but by a different name, because most agents use words and terminology to communicate to prospects that communicate what's in it for the agent, but does not communicate a benefit for the prospect. What we've done is we've renamed the listing appointment to be a concept that the homeowner actually understands how it's valuable for them. So therefore, you can actually get more people to take you up on that offer. Now, today, I'm not covering anything to do with 201, 301, or 401, but the trainings on this and the walkthrough tutorials for 201 and then standalone individual the 2 big trainings that we did on 301 and 401 are in the members area. So if and when you're done with 101, you can then go graduate to 201 at your own pace. Everything is there waiting for you. And then you can graduate to 301, and then you can graduate to 401. Again, all at your own pace as you go through this, okay? But this is all of social signaling laid out super high level, okay? And the one thing that I will reiterate for everybody here that I've said before on many different occasions is that most of this is one-off work. Now that we're out of the worst of COVID, if you will, in most places, I've already rewritten the warm conversation scripts in 101 to be much less COVID-centric and a lot more evergreen. So while you might be looking at this and thinking to yourself, my goodness, this is a tremendous amount of work, don't be overwhelmed. You record your warm convo videos once and get them running. You set up your Calendly page once and point a domain to it and it's running, okay? You record your 201 warm conversation videos once and they're running. You record your mini webinar once, upload it to YouTube once, put it into a landing page once, and then it sits there and it's available. You set up your Facebook lead ads once, and then they run to retarget the people on the pixel as well. And everybody who downloads the checklist and gets added to the CRM, all those steps, you only have to set up once, and then they run automated. And then if you decide to do 401, the warm conversation videos there, you record once and you launch them and run them once, and they run 24/7. The only parts of this that stay manual, meaning things that you have to do on an ongoing basis, is you update your icebreaker video once a month, so 12 a year, very manageable, right? So once per month, you update a new icebreaker video. And then you obviously create Zoom links for meetings when somebody books themselves into your calendar. And then if you're going to do 401, I recommend that you do 1 live webinar per week. Okay. So once per week, you would show up and do a live presentation to potential home sellers that come to your webinar, and then you make an offer at the end. We have also found that people who sit through the webinar, even if they don't contact you, if you follow up with them, because you'll know who they are because you'll have their registration information, if you follow up with them, you'll be amazed at how, first off, they are much more receptive to speaking with you now because you've established a lot of goodwill, trust, rapport, and bond. But furthermore, many of them might not reach out to you to take a next step. But at that point, a simple phone call from you referencing the webinar, asking them about their timeline of when they're planning to sell, what their motivation is, etc., gives you that super critical first time phone conversation. And if they've sat through the webinar with you and then they get a phone call with you, booking a soft home inspection with them is pretty darn easy too. And it feels like a natural next step. So I just want to point out to you that the majority of what you're looking at here is one-time, one-off work. Okay. Unlike most real estate marketing, real estate lead generation, and real estate growth strategies that have you constantly running on a hamster wheel like a hamster, always having to put in more and more effort with ever diminishing returns. Door knocking, cold calling, prospecting, and so many other strategies out there that used to work, but they work less and less, and some of them don't work, period. And most of the time, the answer is, well, do more. Well, I don't know since when was the answer do more the answer to something that's already broken, right? Doing more of what's broken doesn't make sense. On the flip side, with social signaling, there's a learning curve to it. There's not as steep of a learning curve to picking up the phone and calling 100 people a day. But also, it feels like smashing your head against a brick wall every day, too. With this, there is a learning curve. So there's a little bit of that fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, sometimes maybe even fear of success, whatever it might be. That's whatever wiring might be and scripts, whatever belief scripts might be floating around in your head. We all come in different shapes and sizes, right? But if you just buckle down and just get through it and do it, you'll find that this actually is a lot easier than one might think at first glance, looking at all these layers and steps. Part of the reason why it's much easier than one might think is you get all the video scripts from me. You get all the individual walkthrough step-by-step, button-by-button tutorials from me. You get ongoing live support from us 9 to 5 Pacific time, Monday through Friday, with a real live human who's stateside and an actual Facebook expert that I pay a salary to provide support for you guys. Okay. And we're always working on improving it over here. Okay. You get access to 2 boot camps. I usually do 2 boot camps per month. You get unlimited access to those for 12 months. And additionally, we do weekly Q&A calls. Once in a while, I skip a week like I did this week, but otherwise than that, typically we have one every single week pretty much regularly. I think we've only skipped 2 or 3 weeks in the last 3-4 months since we launched this. Okay. So you get a lot of ongoing support. You've got the Facebook community. You've got a support line with the support at listingbully.com and Scott makes himself available for also phone call support by scheduling a phone call with them, and even Zoom one-on-one support calls where you guys can share your screen and he can walk you through it. So again, might look like a lot of stuff, but that's what keeps most agents from succeeding and setting up systems that help you to escape the hamster wheel and actually have systems in place that generate things for you inbound to you, right? And instead of you going out and hunting and pecking and chasing, right, with commission breath after business, it comes to you, and you're already seen as the expert, the authority, the obvious go-to resource, right? Because of all the work that all your videos and your ads did on Facebook with the remarketing and the retargeting, and then all the automated follow-up sequences and resources that you have in place. So again, I know that you'd look at this and be like, my gosh, that would be amazing to have that all done at ASAP. We do have a done for you resource in place now for those who want it. It does cost more money, but it is there. So if you want that, you can reach out to us and ask for it. With that all aside, remember, you do not need to do this to succeed. You don't need to do this to succeed. You don't need to do this. You can literally just focus on 101 and rock and roll. Now, if you want to amplify your success, accelerate your momentum in your results, then you would add on 201. Why wouldn't you, right? You're just going to build your competitive advantage, increase the chances of your success, and improve your results. And you've got word-for-word scripts, slides, templates for me to do it, tutorials on how to set it all up, and ongoing, basically unparalleled support. I know there's a few other companies, marketing companies in real estate who provide great support, and I know that they don't rival us. I'm pretty sure of that. So You are getting best in class support every step of the way. And then if you want to do 201 and you get that done and you want to get 301, then boom, you can add it on. And then if you want to do 401, you can add that on. You see what I'm saying? But don't look at this and be like, I'll never get this done. This is so much. Where do I even begin? Well, you just begin with 101. That's why it's called 101, 201, 301, and 401, like college curriculum. Okay. So regardless of where you're at in this process, I know some of you are done with 201 and you're chomping to get at 301. Some of you are here for the first time and this is your first little baby step. Congratulations to both. Wherever you're at on your journey, like the cliche goes, every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So today we're going to go over in-depth 101 and everything that we can get through there today. This is the big picture of where you can take all this. And the good news is everything in the purple squares is one-time, one-off work that then runs evergreen 24/7, 365 in the background, no matter what you're doing. And it's working like an automated salesperson to bring you pre-framed, to bring you prospects who are pre-framed on your value, right? Ready to want to engage with you. They almost see you like a little mini celebrity by the time they get to you. And then the yellow squares are the manual things that you would actually have to do on some sort of an ongoing basis, but not too frequent, not too much, and not too disruptive. So it is far, far, far from what most real estate coaches will try to put you on, which is that real estate treadmill we call smile and dial, door knocking, prospecting, and all the other stuff that gives us headaches and doesn't work. So that's social signaling overview 101, 201, 301, 401. We're going to pause for Q&A now. And then after that, we're going to continue with our training and our content today. So what questions do you guys have for me based upon what I've shared so far? Anything? Joanna asks, is that on a Facebook group and under discussions? If you're talking about the individual walkthrough tutorials, no, those are in your Teachable membership area. When you signed up and enrolled for social signaling, you went to a URL that then took you to the Teachable website, which is a platform for hosting content on. And then there is where you log in. It's the same password and email that you registered with. And in there will be your social signaling members area. And in there is all your content. The Facebook group is just for ongoing discussion on our wall, our news feed in there, if you will, our private Facebook group for students where we just share, discuss, et cetera, et cetera. Tara, where can I find this one-on-one? One-and-one. If you need one-on-one support, you email support@listingbully.com. Email support@listingbully.com. And then from there, somebody usually gets back to you within 24 hours. Again, keep in mind, we support is 9 to 5 Pacific time. So if you email or get in touch with us outside of those hours or close to the end of that, you'll probably get a response the next day. And I don't expect Scott to make himself available for one-on-one phone calls and Zoom calls on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's typical normal standard business hours, Pacific time. But we are there for you. And I'm not pawning you off to somebody in India, that doesn't understand even what we're doing with Facebook. You're getting somebody who can actually help. Joe asks, why only Pixel for 90 days? What is the thought behind that? Why not a longer option? My perspective is this: if somebody does not take action with me and all my retargeting and remarketing content within 90 days, then I don't think they're ever going to take action with me. And I don't think they're a serious prospect. And so then I don't want to keep spending money on retargeting them. Okay. Because the only money that you're spending in your warm conversation stack is on retargeting people pixeled from an icebreaker video view ad that you have running. And I don't want to spend money on retargeting people forever. I think that 90 days is long enough to be getting content from me and then decide if you're going to be getting in touch with me or not, right? So I'm not a fan of following up with people forever or following people, paying to follow people around on Facebook forever. 90 days for me is that sweet spot, because 15 out of every, in real estate, the broad strokes are this. When it comes to lead generation, 50% of leads are trash. 50% of people who engage with you in some way, opt in, or get pixeled are never going to do anything. Out of the half that will do something, 15% are going to do something in 90 days or less, and 85% or so will do something in 90 days plus. So that 90-day pixel puts us at a sweet spot where we should be able to get the 15% of people engaged who are doing something in 90 days or less. And for the people who are going to be doing something in 90 days or more, if they don't get in touch with us in 90 days, I don't think we're going to have a relationship. The cool thing is that when they drop off the pixel, they're put out back into the Facebook ocean. And if they see your second, third, or fourth icebreaker, they can get pixeled all over again and be put back on your 90-day pixel. But it kind of just helps you kind of declutter the debris and keep fresh people on there. Linda Wells, do you get the pixeled people's info? No, you do not. That's a privacy issue. You do not get to click. You do not get to open. You do not get to open a custom audience file, if you will, and then see people's information, who's pixel. That is anonymous. The good news is you get to follow them around on Facebook, though, and force feed your content into their Facebook newsfeed. Tara asks, can I record this meeting? No, you cannot, but I am recording it, and the recording of every boot camp is put up into the members area shortly afterwards. If you go into the members area now, you'll see that the last 4 or 5 boot camps are in there. And what we do is we keep a rolling inventory of the last 5 boot camps in the members area is what we typically do. So people can go back and rewatch the boot camp that they were in, or if they want to watch one that they missed, whatever it might be, we keep them going in there. Susie, Andre, do you give us information on whom app to do for a webinar? Thank you for all your support. You're very welcome. Do you give us information on whom app to do what app to use? If you're talking about what app to use to do a webinar, yes, I get into all that. I show you guys how to use. What I recommend you use is Zoom or GoToWebinar. There's pros and cons to both. And when you get to the 401 training, when you graduate to that stage, then that recording and that content is waiting for you. I'm not going to cover it today, and there's no need to cover it right now because we're on 101, right? But if you're ready for 401, then just go to the 401 training in the members area, and you'll see that there. Linda asks, you mentioned you would do it at an extra cost. Where do I get more information? If you're interested in the done for you version of this, where we set everything up for you, 101, 21, 31, and 401, what you would do is email support@listingbully.com and simply say, hey, I heard that there's a done for you version on the bootcamp. I'm interested in more information and details. And then either myself or Scott will get back to you with the details and let you know what all is included, what it costs, so on and so forth. You're still responsible for recording all the videos because it has to be you on camera because you're the expert, right? People need to be building a bond with you on the Facebook videos. But besides recording the videos, everything else we do for you. We set up all the funnels, the campaigns, etc. Susie, I am confused on how we pixel them for 90 days. Are we running the program for 90 days? I will show you how you pixel them for 90 days. So you won't be confused about that. And then, no, you're running the program forever. What happens is that people drop off the pixel after 90 days. But because your icebreaker video is running and pixeling new people every day, new people are being added to your pixel every single day. So it's like an inventory. It's like a moving assembly line belt of new people getting onto your pixel every day. And then after 90 days, some people are dropping off every day. So you've always got fresh inventory of people pixeled on your pixel, and they stay on there for 90 days and then they drop off. Linda, you said we redo the icebreaker one time a month. Do you have the scripts or do we do it on our own? I never promised I would give you guys the scripts for ongoing icebreakers, but turns out I'm doing that. So it just so happens that I've been helping students refresh their content. And by default, that means I've been giving you guys new icebreaker. I've given you a new icebreaker script already. So if you have one already running, I know, Linda, you've been with us for at least a month, if not more. And you're ready for a new icebreaker script, then that, my dear, is already in the members area, and it's just the only one that's available. So if you go in there now, it's not like there's an old icebreaker script and a new one. There's only one to keep things simple, and that one is the one that you would download and use. Yvonne asks, is it possible with some kind of video editor to take snippets of videos and paste them together? Yes, it is. I don't train on how to do that. I might put together a standalone tutorial someday on that. The editor that I use for videos when I do editing is called Filmora. Filmora, Filmora. And I find it to be pretty nifty, pretty easy to use. It's got one of the simplest video editing interfaces that I have found out there. I feel like a lot of video editing tools are way overwhelming. If you go into something like Final Cut Pro or whatever those tools are called, it is way overkill for what we need. We're not producing Hollywood movies, right? So I really like Filmora, and I think it's $50 a year for the version where you don't have the watermark logo on it, and you want that version. And I like that it's just $50 a year, one time per year, and you're good to go. So that's what I recommend. And again, that's Filmora. I'll type it in the chat box, Yvonne, and for everybody else, it's called Filmora. And it's put out by a company called Wondershare. I think that's the name of the overall company. And I think Filmora is one of their products. And it's an application you can go download online. So type in Filmora. You can download it. It'll download to your desktop as an application. So it'll be on your laptop. And then you will just pay $50 to upgrade to the version that has more features, more tools, and gets rid of the watermark logo branding, which you want that off. And then after that, you're good to go, and you've paid for the whole year. And that's what I use to edit all my videos, and I'm very happy with it. I also am not super technical, so again, things that are overwhelmed that have 1,000 buttons on them takes me a long time to figure out. And I'm not interested in becoming, some super slick editor, video creator. So Filmora does the trick for me, and that's what I recommend. I also do know that some students who do editing have great success with with iMovie if you're on a Mac. I hear that a lot of people have success with that if they're using Mac, and I've been told that iMovie and Filmora are somewhat similar. I've been told as well. And also Filmora works on both Macs and PCs. That's another great thing about it. You can have, it doesn't matter if you're on a Mac or a PC, you can download Filmora and use it. Good questions. Any other questions for me? All right, so we've gotten into class for about an hour and 10 minutes. I think it'd be a good time to take a 5-minute break. I want to go make myself a cold tea. So let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, and then we'll pick up with the first button-by-button piece of this, where I'm going to take you through setting up your business page. Then I'm going to take you through making a public post with your video. And then we're probably going to take a lunch break at that point, and then we're going to go into setting up your icebreaker video view ad campaign, but we'll see how that goes, all right? 5-minute break. It's 11:09 Pacific time right now. So let's be back at 11:15. All right, 11:15 Pacific time. Let's be back. And again, don't turn off Zoom. Leave it all on. Let's be back at 11:15, and we'll pick up where we've left off.